Good news on Jaden. I think it was concussion, at least was the purported thing on Sunday.
Yeah, it's great news. Usually, yeah, I don't want to say I'm not an expert by any stretch, but just talking to him, he told me after the game that he was fine. But obviously, there's a protocol that you have to go through, and so you're always concerned. But he was pretty confident, and when he was talking to me that he was fine. But again, you got to go through the process.
Is it a challenge to go through game planning when there's uncertainty at one position group in particular?
Always, but that's the nature of our business, and you got to get other guys ready to play. And we're not the only team that goes through that. So Tampa was missing a bunch of guys last week, multiple people on the defense side of the ball, and so we all have our similar issues.
You guys have seen Baker here late in seasons with different teams the past 2 years. In what ways is he the same quarterback? In what ways is he playing differently this year with Tampa?
I just think he's a guy that's playing with a lot of confidence. Obviously, he's got some pretty darn good receivers to throw to. I got a lot of respect for Dave Canales, his offensive coordinator. Just what they've shown and put on tape. So I think he's doing a really good job. I think he's playing with a lot of confidence.
Matt, you mentioned the guys he has to throw to, and not to shortchange anybody else, but Mike Evans has had like 1,000 yards a season, like every year he's been in the league. What makes this guy so tough?
Man, he is. I got to see him up close and personal at the Pro Bowl a couple of years ago. He's a pretty intelligent guy, but I think he's a guy that loves football. I love the way he competes. He is physical. He does a great job of opening up his stride. Obviously, his catch radius is insane. There's not a catch he can't make, not a route he can't run. I just think he will go down as one of the best to ever do it.
Projected as a full participant if he practiced today. Just what's your confidence level about him maybe being able to come back this week?
Yeah, we'll see. We'll give him the week, and we'll probably put him through some, physical tests. We're going to have a little bit different of a practice tomorrow. We will have some individual time, but the majority of, not only today but tomorrow, the majority of it's walkthrough. So we'll test him in different ways just to make sure he's ready to go.
Yeah, on Stokes, not asking about this particular game, but would you like to get him some defensive snaps before the season is over, or you just, is corner just a position where you got your guys and that's it?
We'd love to give him some snaps. I think he's played some really good ball for us. So, we're hoping that he'd be back before now. I know it's been frustrating for him, but, I think hopefully we're getting close to that day.
What are the challenges of Tampa Bay's defense?
Well, I've said this a few times, when you couple good scheme with really good players, that's usually a problem. I think Todd does a great job, and they do a great job of deploying a lot of different pressure looks. They want to get pressure on the quarterback, and then they've got playmakers at every level of the defense, from the D-line, linebackers obviously been doing it for a long time, and then in the back end. And I think they do a great job of attacking the football. They know how to generate takeaways. They're always punching at the football. When you look at the guys in the back end, they got great ball skills. So I just think every level of their defense is dangerous.
What are the added,
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
what are the added stressors for the defense when you have to be really mindful about their running back in the passing game?
Yeah, I think that just adds another layer to your offense. I think, whether it's where you supplement your passing game, whether it's through the tight end room or the receiver or the running back room, it just adds more stress in terms of if you're trying to get deep to take away, Mike Evans and Godwin and all those guys, then you leave more space for your underneath and your check downs, and now those become a problem. And so it adds just more stress to you.
Talk about their running game.
Yeah, they do a nice job. Do a bunch of downhill, crunch, whatever you want to call it, duo. And they've been doing that for a long time. I think, it's a gritty group up front. I think, and then they mix in some zone schemes. So I think they do a really good job with the run game.
On your side, Patrick Taylor made the mistake of not going out of bounds, but how do you think he ran the ball for you?
Yeah, he had some nice plays. Certainly that's one of those that we got to learn from in the 2-minute situation. But, I thought as far as I thought he ran with good pad level, broke some tackles, and he did a really nice job.
The Bucs are kind of like you in that they had a pretty long losing streak and they bounced back since. Just when you're looking at them on tape, any difference you see in them these last 3-4 weeks in the way they're playing? Or
Just a group. I think there's a lot of parity in our league, obviously, this year, and I think you see it. No matter who's playing, you better bring your A game, and they had a hard-fought win last week versus Atlanta, going down in a 2-minute situation, and Baker threw to the tight end there and on the corner route, and made a big-time throw to Godwin earlier in that drive, and so it was a pretty resilient win, and they made a lot of plays on both sides of the ball throughout the course of the game. They had Davis had an unbelievable pick six that was where he jumped a bubble screen. So, they just went out and played a really good game on the road.
You guys have been pretty good at not giving the ball away this year overall. Your numbers, I think, heading into Monday were like second or third in the league. When you have a night like you have there, does it help your message get across more? Do you have to circle back and re-emphasize it, or what do you make of that, and how you use that moving forward, especially against a Tampa team?
No, you guys know what this game's all about. You got to take care of the football, and we had a unfortunate mistake on punt return. When you muff a punt and you go to the ground, you better just lay on it, and then give credit to the Giants in terms of Thibodeau ripping the ball away from Jordan on that zone read. Again, I think that's one that we'll learn from in terms of just trying not to cut back into that. Just try to outrun them. If you can't, you can't. And then obviously anytime I think a quarterback's throwing a double move, you got to be careful. Yeah, you want to see what's going on out there, but the longer you look at it, especially if it's a single high safety, he's probably going to be working that way, and then the ball just hung up too long, and they made a play on it. So, but I think we know what the formula for victory is, and it's pretty consistent on a weekly basis, and part of that formula is taking care of the football and winning the turnover battle.
What's the challenge with Winfield? I mean, you look at his numbers; are kind of preposterous with all the tackles and sacks and interceptions. I mean, it's pretty rare what he's doing.
Yeah, he's an unbelievable player. He made a hell of a play on that safety last week versus Atlanta, on the safety blitz. It doesn't matter whether, he's playing nickel or he's at safety. He's a guy you better account for in every play. He's a very smart football player, very instinctive, very physical. It's not a shock to me that he's made the impact that he's made in this league, and he's one of the better safeties in the league.
No, I understand it's not uncommon for guys not to travel, but Jair had the past couple away games. Why didn't he this weekend?
We felt like that was best for him in terms of trying to get his shoulder back and, part of the recovery process.
Good.
How is Wicks doing? Tay Wicks?
He's getting better.
It's an ankle injury?
Yes. You're welcome.